Okay, so here's another video on wintertime driving. It is December 29th, 2021 here in old Boise, Idaho. And we don't have a ton of snow, but we got slush, we got some slick roads. So definitely wintertime driving conditions. So now, if you can hear me okay, I'm going to try to talk loud. One of the things you want to do is you want to make sure you have some momentum. So when you're turning left or right at a stop sign, if you can clearly see down the roads and there's nobody coming, you might want to do one of those California stops or California rolls, because you want momentum. Fully stopping at a stop sign is the law, it's what you're supposed to do, but you're also supposed to pull out with some speed and not get hit by a car. So sometimes you just need to have that momentum. Now let's say you have to stop because there's a bad visibility area. You can't do a California stop, you just have to stop. You might have to stop just a tiny bit further back and do it trucker style, which is you start to let the car roll out, giving her a little bit of gas. Be ready to hit the brake, because especially if there's a blind spot on the left or right. But what we're doing is we're building momentum. We're building just a tiny bit of momentum, and a lot of times all it takes is letting the car roll out. So I'm going to back up and kind of show you here what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I still have decent visibility here down the road. And sorry for the loud windshield wipers. Okay, so I still have visibility. I'm going to start off the brake, rolling out, start giving it a little gas, checking left, right, constantly checking left, right, left, and then having that momentum. I'm going to cut this corner, and I'm going to go out wide. You do not want to turn the wheels any harder, any sharper than you have to. This is one of the benefits of getting it ready to launch. So when I teach my students, I teach getting it ready to launch. So right here, we'd stop right here, and we're going to get it ready to launch. This is a four-way stop intersection. And you see I'm already starting to turn. That way when I pull out, I don't even really need to do any steering. My steering is done. And so the less steering, nice wide turn. I'm going out nice and wide here. If you feel the back end of your car slide out a little bit, especially in a front wheel drive car, just give it some extra gas and the front wheel drive will pull your vehicle straight. So getting it ready to launch, so you're already starting the turning process, and of course cutting the corner a little bit if it's safe to do so, and that could mean going over the lines, but you know, in this type of weather, who cares about lines? Okay, let's just be honest. You know, you cut over some yellow lines, some white lines to smooth out your turns, to maintain vehicle control. No cop is going to pull you over because you're going over some line, if you can even see the line in the first place. So early smooth braking, just as normal. Okay. Now that was a tough call because there was a guy coming in back of me a little fast, plus there was a blind spot on the right. So I had two potential problems. I had the guy coming from behind me and a potential guy coming from the right. Well, I couldn't see very well down the right road, but I did know there was a guy in back of me. So I perceived, my opinion was the guy in back of me was the bigger risk. And so that's why I kind of pulled out a little fast there, and I still double checked down the road. I still double checked, but I should have pulled out. I would have liked to have pulled out a little slower, double checking to the right, but the guy coming in back of me was coming a little fast. Now, if you can see, there's two left turn lanes here. This is actually not the optimal lane to be in, but for my route, it is the optimal lane. It's not the optimal lane during these conditions because this guy on the side of me, he could slide. He could slide into me. So I'm going to try to make sure this is extra slow, extra wide, in case he slides a little bit. But in reality, if it didn't matter which turn lane to get into, the inside one, so that nobody's sliding into you. Little hesitation in case somebody runs the light. As you can see, nice and wide. Now I am turning the wheels a little harder than I'd like, but I'm compensating by taking it nice and slow. Okay? And you got to be a little selfish. Don't worry about the people in back of you. Don't worry about making people happy. You know, everybody thinks you're going to be a slowpoke, whether it's summer or winter. Everybody wants you out of their way, and everybody's late, and you cannot give in to pressure. To be a safe driver, you have to be selfish, and that's just the way it is. If everybody just left their house 5 minutes early, people wouldn't be tailgating and speeding and putting all this pressure on you. Well, they still could. I take that back. A lot of people do leave 10 minutes early, and they still drive aggressively and unethically. Okay, on a nice straight road like this, traction is usually pretty good. I mean, even if you didn't have studded snow tires, even if you had rear-wheel drive, a lot of times, straight road like this, not bad. Not bad. But you really got to think ahead. I mean, this is like trucker-style driving here. You really got to think ahead about what you're doing, the turn coming up, the situation. So right now I'm noticing that I'm turning right, but there's cars going through there. So I'm going to try a timing technique. I'm going extra slow. Actually, I kind of have to go slow and stop for this Frito-Lay guy. But I was trying to time it so that I didn't have to fully stop. I don't know why that Frito-Lay guy came to a full stop there. Alright, so here is a merge lane. Okay. Alright. Kind of muddy, slushy, which is still bad. This is where wintertime driving can be a little more dangerous, or it is more dangerous, because you have to have good lane position control. You have to know where you are in the lane. So right now, my big thing is I'm thinking about my left tire. My left tire is essentially right in front of my left foot. So I'm using that. I'm not kind of looking all over the road to find lane position. I'm kind of just thinking about where that front left tire is. Okay? That's where I'm sitting. That's where there's the most weight. The most weight is on the left side. The car battery, the 80-pound car battery, is on the left side. I'm sitting on the left side. So I want the most traction to be on this left side, this left tire. Do I look at the right side, the right tire? Sure, I can take a look at it, but my main focus is on the left here. So I got a truck in back of me, tailgating me. Of course, nobody knows they're tailgating. Even in regular conditions, nobody thinks they're tailgating, but they actually are. So it's really sad that people don't understand any of these things. Because if this guy in back of me rear ends me, I'm going to sue him. I mean, I got to get money. I got to get fixed up. I got to get money for the doctor, for my MRI check and my, whiplash check and stuff. So I'm going pretty good. I'm going about 31 miles per hour on a 40 mile per hour road. My lane position is good. I'm not hitting the slushy areas. Slushy areas can be like hydroplaning, where you lose total traction. This is where wintertime driving tires, winter tires are good. Deeper tread, softer tire, can grip a little bit better. The studs are helping because they are kind of chewing or grabbing into the slick spots. So when it comes to icy areas, that's where the studded tires. But if you're driving on fresh snow, then the regular winter tires are really good. But in icy conditions, it's all about the studs. Okay, so I'm driving along pretty good. Nobody in back of me now. In fact, I could probably slow it down a tiny bit. White truck pulling out on the left, he just blends right in. This is the worst time of year to drive a white vehicle. Okay. He shouldn't have I guess he could have merged in there. He was trying to keep up his momentum, but he could have let me go by. So I don't think that truck did very good timing. If he would have timed it better, he could have pulled out with nobody around. So there's an example of somebody who doesn't think about timing, is not a clever driver. He could have waited a few more seconds. There's hardly anybody in the left oncoming traffic there. Alright, so I'm looking far ahead. I'm seeing brake lights. It's easy to miscalculate. You see a green light, brake lights disappear, and you think, oh, they're going. They could be barely moving, and you could easily miscalculate it and run right into the back of somebody. And by the way, this white truck in back of me has no lights on. He absolutely blends in with everything. You have to help people see you. In the summertime, wintertime, you have to help people see you. Okay? There's snow falling. There's a white car pulling out on the right. Does anybody see him? Oh, he's not pulling out. He's just kind of in that parking lot there. You got to have that, help people see you. A lot of wrecks happen and people say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. Well, what can you do? Drive with your full-time headlights on all the time. There's only one extremely rare situation where I don't recommend full headlights on, and I'll talk about that later. So as you can see, I got wonderful following distance. Unfortunately, all these cars on the left are tailgating, so I really don't want to get up next to them because it's hard to have staggered positioning. Staggered positioning is not having anybody to the left or right. Now these people on the left are slowing down a lot, so I have no choice. I can't slow down more. I got 30 people in back of me, so I am going to go on up. Now I'm going to back off a little bit here for this red car because my turn's coming up and it's just not necessary to get right next to him. I'm going to put on a signal nice and early, start braking nice and early, and if that upsets the guy in back of me, I don't care. I don't want to get rear-ended. Okay, starting out wide. Okay, I looked down my path of travel. I noticed a white car coming. I could not take it wide. So I wasn't saying, hey, I can do this turn a little fast. There's nobody coming. I can cut the corner and... No. You're not cutting the corner so that you can do it fast. You're just cutting the corner as an extra precautionary measure to maintain control. You're just an extra way of maintaining control. So as you can see, I couldn't cut the corner there very much. I couldn't go wide. There was a white car coming, but it wasn't a big deal. I was already going pretty slow. And by the way, I do have a full tank of gas. I have an extra spare tire in the back along with some weights. So I probably have an extra 200 pounds worth of weight in the back, and that helps prevent cars from spinning out, the back end of the car spinning out. So anyhow, alright, I'm going to get out of the way of this guy over here. Going a little fast, thinks he's got great control. And people in their four-wheel drives always think, hey, I got everything, I got plenty of weight, I got four-wheel drive, and then they have a big wake-up call, a big reality check. It's too bad. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. We'll do some more